Today we'll be using the VOILE Universal Puck Guide, 4 universal puck gaskets, 4 universal pucks, 2 puck discs with inline slots, 2 puck discs with parallel slots, 8 Phillips drive panhead screws. So step 1 is to install the 4 gaskets into the universal pucks. And with that tool here, I'm going to put 2 pucks in that. It's important when setting up the pucks on your split that you have the parallel slot disc on the toe side of your board and the inline slot disc on the heel side of your board. Okay, for stance angles with a flatter angle between about -12 and 12 degrees, you want the A on the inline slot disc to point towards the board center line. If you have a steeper angle, above 12 or less than -12, you want the B on the 1 slot disc pointing towards the board center line. With the parallel slot disc, flipping between A and B will shift your stance either towards the tail or towards the nose of the board. You can use that to fine-tune your stance width. We're going to drop in our discs. We're going for 20 degrees regular foot here. You want to make sure that you got the same angle set for both feet. If you can't see the inserts where you're going, you can flip the disc, the 2 slot disc around, and then that might get you closer to where you want your foot to be. Now I can see the 4 inserts. I'm going to put in the 4 screws just loose at first, make sure I can get them all lined up. Then once I've got all 4, go back and retighten. Pop off puck alignment guide. When you're all done, your puck should be 7 5/8 inches from end to end, or 19.4 centimeters. Also make sure that your pucks are in a straight line. Process for the other foot is the same. Put in the 4 screws just loose at first. Make sure you can get them all lined up. Then once I've got all 4, go back and retighten. Pin through and flip it. If you can't get the pin all the way through, slide the binding off, loosen these 2 screws, push the puck in slightly and retighten. Pinch the slide right through. So we'll be using 2 plastic pin guides, 2 touring brackets, 6 Phillips drive flathead screws. Note that the shorter screws work with the touring brackets. 2 dual height climbing heels, 2 short wires, 2 long wires, 2 plastic heel pads and 4 flathead Phillips drive screws. Note that the longer ones work with the heel rests. And all this will install with the number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to pop the pin guide through the touring bracket, line up on the touring bracket holes. First we'll install these 3 screws just barely tight, and then once you've got all 3, you can fully tighten. Okay, so you want to grab your climbing heel block. On the narrow end on the front, you're going to install the long wire. And on the rear end, the wider part, you're going to install the short wire. When you're done, it should look like that. Place the climbing heel pad on the board. This narrow nub is the front, and it points toward the nose of the board. Drop the wires and block over it. And grab 2 screws. And again, loose it first and then tighten it both. If you're using the Mr. Chum's crampons with the VOILE touring setup, you'll need to replace this plastic pin guide with this plastic shim. All you need to do is remove the screws, switch the parts, and reinstall. Okay, so here we're going to install Spark R&D LT brackets. So whether you are using a VOILE bracket with the pin guide or a VOILE bracket with a shim, like you have a Mr. Chum's crampon, you can take both these things entirely off of the board. The LT brackets come with their own screws that are a little bit shorter than the VOILE ones, so you definitely need to use the screws that come in the package with the brackets. The VOILE ones being a little bit longer can make for the brackets not being attached tightly to the board. First we'll install these 3 screws just barely tight, and then once you've got all 3, you can fully tighten. You're ready to ride.